I got some friends that killed some people, but my friends have always been killing people. I did not break the law.
He kept the body for 1 to 2 days, and he laid the body on the edge of his tub and, quote, slit open his belly, end quote. He took pictures of him. He defleshed him, acidified the flesh and skull, and kept the skull.
He had killed more than a dozen people and eaten some of them. His Milwaukee apartment that was literally a house of horror.
I deserve certainly the most extreme punishment society has, and I think society deserves to be protected from me and from others like me.
Homicide.
Van Houten claims she originally...
Before we even start, Sarah, are you like seeing it anywhere? Because I'm not seeing it anywhere on, like, I'm not seeing it on the page anywhere. Is like, do you see anybody on right now?
I see 2 viewers.
Okay. I don't have it anywhere on my, like, that it's live anywhere. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, because I have it live on my personal page, on PXL and YouTube, and on my LinkedIn page.
But what about the Chillin page? Is it live on there?
I wasn't able to get that in time on there.
Oh, all right. Well, then give me a minute.
If we have to share that, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I can fix it.
Stupid
there you go.
computers.
I'm just going to share it. All right. Everybody hang tight for 1 second. I don't know why it won't let me share it on there.
Weird.
What's happening? Oh, wait. I think I got it. Here we go. All right.
Got it? Okay.
Learning is fun, everybody.
Yay,
a lot
learning.
of fun here. Learning is fun. Okay. Let's see if this works now. I just shared it to the Chillin and Killin Crimecast page, and that's all I really care about. So
sweet.
Now we should be good. Let me just double check it. Okay. We're going to do quality check here. Okay. Yep. It's live. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us, through technical difficulties. So I don't know who read my post, who did not, about the Chillin and Killin Crimecast, but Heather is just taking a step back for a little while to, live her crazy life and explore the world and have some fun and just, live life and get some stuff done. So I'm going to be doing some guest co-hosts. And of course, you would have been my first pick without a doubt. I already had you in mind before you volunteered, so it really doesn't matter what you say, really. But would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, well, sure. I'm going to make it awkward.
I'll just keep going.
I am Gigi, or some of you know me as Sarah. I host a Paranormal XL podcast. It's actually where I met Kirsten and Heather. Mm-hmm. So that's really awesome how we all have that connection and such. I've been a podcaster for 3 years now. Met some really amazing people, such as Kirsten and Heather. It's been really great, and I'm honored to be here with you. So, yay, your turn.
Okay, well, so hopefully if you're watching, you know the deal with Chillin and Killin Crimecast. So we go on, we talk about crime. I try to give some kind of disclaimer at the beginning of every show. And I mean, it's more sarcastic, but what we usually say is if you're offended by gory details, photographs. If you think that we are on here to justify crime or anything like that, then I say kindly you can just get off the page right now, because we are all fans. We want to talk about this. It's not that we justify it or don't feel sympathy for the victims, but of course we want to dive into these topics, and it's super interesting to us. So crime lovers, come one, come all. That's what we're here for. So in case you couldn't tell from the confetti background that Sarah has so lovingly provided here, which, might look like M&Ms to you, but it's actually bodies, true to form. We are touching on Jonestown tonight. Jim Jones, Jonestown. I don't know anybody who hasn't heard of Drink the Kool-Aid. If you haven't, we're going to go through it tonight. So I want to show you my shirt. Drink up, and the mug I'll be drinking out of tonight. Okay. Listen, we do this every time, and it's ridiculous. I have my Kool-Aid, all right, or cyanide punch, whatever you guys want to call it, and my Jim Jones sunglasses. So I am ready to roll tonight. All right, we're gonna get into it, deep into the mind of this person. And you know what? We make very light of crime a lot of the times, but Sarah and I were talking about this before we came on. This is a truly sickening story. Like, this is disturbing even to someone like us, where it's hard to bother us. I mean, I would take a part-time job cleaning up crime scenes if I could. I would have no problem with that. But this story psychologically is just messed up. I mean, right, Sarah, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And it not just by him, but how he was able to snow over these people and be like, give me everything, sell me your soul, and we're gonna go move here and everything's gonna be great. And it wasn't great.
That's what I always say. Like, I think I say this every podcast. Everybody knows my interest in Charles Manson, but it's the same thing. It intrigues me how these people are so, I don't even want to say brainwashed, because a lot of them are not unintelligent. I mean, the fact that it's kind of sad if you think about it. They want to follow something so bad, or they want to believe in something so bad that they're willing to believe almost anything. And I guess I just don't understand that.
Yeah, that's the part of it. Yeah, that we can't wrap our head around.
Yeah, there's a lot I've wanted to believe in life, but I even reach a point where I know I'm being duped, and I go, wait a minute, wait.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We both have Kool-Aid punch with vodka drinks, correct? That's what we're drinking tonight. Yep. Oh, I like your, wait a minute. Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot I had a Jim Jones mug. I thought I had like my normal glass, and I'm like, oh, I love your glass. Wait a minute. So I am decked out from head to toe, channeling the Jim Jones force tonight. So, so we're going to go through this. We have some pictures for you guys. We're going to kind of go through the story and, come in with your comments or your questions, whatever you want. And Sarah and I are just going to, we keep it so casual here. So we're just going to kind of talk about this. And let me say before we start, Heather, you're here in spirit. We miss you. And, she'll make a loud and proud return one day. So that's perfectly fine. In the meantime, we'll rock it. So, so anything, Sarah, that you want to add before I start kind of going through this crazy story?
Well, let's show. Stop! I have a picture. let's start with that first one that I showed you, because that's a good enter this.
It is
picture of him, and then of the aftermath of him, because that's great. Right.
Yeah, that picture is it's not even showing like the slight destruction.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic. So, okay. So if I was to sum this up, I would start it by saying over 900 followers were forced into mass suicide. That's pretty much it. So the believed number is 913 people. And this happened in 1978 in Guyana. And of course, they call it Jonestown. And so a lot of the specials that I watched, because Jim Jones has children that they did survive this. They were not there. They were away when this all happened. One of his sons went back to Guyana, to the location 20 years later, in 1998, and is so emotional. I mean, it's really hard to watch, but he basically steps through the whole story and who he knows his father to be and how everything happened. So I watched a lot.
Sorry, was that his adopted son that he had?
No, I think this was his actual son. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was his actual son. I knew he had some adopted ones. This is Stephen Jones. So I think this was his actual son. And if it's not, I'd be surprised because it looks exactly like him. But yeah, it's kind of hard to watch. But basically, so Jim Jones, he was born and raised in Indiana. Very poor.
Too close.
His mother worked in a factory, and she was a union activist. So he right away kind of started viewing a very strong type personality, or someone that stood for something, which a lot of times you find out kind of bleeds into the personalities of these individuals as they grow up. As he grew up, became very sensitive to racial issues. He had a very strong opinion and strong stance when it came to a lot of opinions towards the African American community in general. He got very interested in that topic, I'll just say. And when he was young, he observed a minister at one point and basically said, whatever I need to do to be that, I'm going to do it. I want that. And he basically watched this person with, I don't think any of us necessarily would say power, but with pull, with effect over people. That's how I hear it or see it. Hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Mom.
She finally got on. We were like a minute or two late, and she's like, I can't find it. Why can't I find it? Mom, hold on. I'm like, we're not on yet. We're fashionably late. Just okay. But so again, he observed this person who had that pull or that force and said, I want to do this, whatever I have to do, that's what I'm going to do. So his overall message as a leader was social justice and an integrated society. Integration, huge integration. So he starts the People's Temple. And I'm fast forwarding a little bit down to when they were in the jungle and they had their whole establishment. This was
first it started out in California.
Yes, California.
Yeah.
Yes, California. So I'm fast forwarding a little bit to say this was serious. They had a senior home, a soup kitchen, daycare, rehab center, medical facility. So all his setups had these facilities where, I don't even know that I want to say he started out as that it was a farce or something like that. He was working towards something, and he set up all these centers and, really wanted to make a wave of a difference, however that may be. So, because of everything, so this was California. So because of everything that was going on at that time, there were a lot of social issues, race issues. There was a lot of turmoil in the community, and a lot of people did not like what he was doing. So he decides to basically move. Originally, he moves from Indiana to California because he wasn't welcomed in Indiana anymore because of his views on integration. So him and 150 followers moved to Redwood Valley, California, and they create a setup. And it's a very rural retreat feeling. He learned to do, everything was very peaceful, natural, organic. He learned to do faith healings. He became an ordained minister. And as a lot of people say during this time, a con man. So he's learning his trade at this point. He's learning how to be an influencer, but he is also doing all this at your view or at an outsider's view, all this great stuff. So he's in California now. And as I said, all these social issues are starting to ramp up. in California. And, he does rallies, he does speeches, he has his followers, and they all believe in, every word he says, but they are coming up against a lot of society in California at this point. So this is where he starts to sort of dupe people. And he knows he has to make them believe in miracles or make them believe in his word. So he really pulls out all the tricks of the trade here. So one of the, and again, he does Sunday services, he does speeches, stuff like that. He has one of his secretaries dress up as a disabled woman with, or portray herself, I guess, as a disabled woman with a hip and spine issue that she's had her whole life. So now she's elderly and she's in a wheelchair, and he does this whole big scene. And
I've seen some of these. Yeah. You are healed, my child. Yeah.
Yes. Listen to the sound of my voice. And I mean, it's, but at this point, like I said, people really took his word to be gold. And he commanded her to stand and walk. And everybody is clapping and everybody is cheering and they're singing, and he commands her. And of course, she stands up, and people are passing out and fainting, and some people are throwing up, and it's a whole big scene. Yes, exactly. And then he commands her to stand. He commands her to walk. And eventually, this woman is dancing jig. She is running around the church, dancing full force. And everybody is, thinking that they're witnessing a miracle. And he did a lot of stuff like this to, make people believe. And really, it was all a scam. It wasn't real. So now, once he thinks that he has people, hi, Heather. Once he thinks that he has people and they're really kind of following, his word, he starts to, I don't know how I want to say this, protect himself and set up his whole, I don't know how I want to word this. He had people signing blank pieces of paper. So he would hand them a blank piece of paper with a line and a date. They would sign it. And then after they did this, he would print over that paper whatever he wanted. He's using this for blackmail later or for coercion later.
Yeah.
So he would type up confessions from parents admitting that they molested and raped their kids. He would type up admissions of robbery, murder, fraud, whatever he wanted. You don't know what you're doing. You trust him completely. So you're signing your name to something. And later he's typing up these admissions of guilt and, keeping them for his security, basically, in case anything happens, he has an out. So
to have such an ego,
Go ahead.
To have such an ego that you're just like, and these people are fueling it like it's Christmas morning and just
And the sad thing is at this point, they actually start signing over their houses, their power of attorneys, their will, their, all their finances. They're signing everything over to him because they really believe that they're part of a movement and that he's going to
take care of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was showing them the Garden of Eden, essentially, is what he was promising.
You'll always be taken care of. Everything is wonderful. And I just, need you to give me all your trust, which is, we see that in so many, mental abuse. We see that in crime things. We see that in mental cases. We see that I need everything from you. I need everything, which I'll touch on a little more later. Once they actually got down to Guyana, they even gave more. But for now, this is what's happening. So, so now we are around 1973. It's been a couple years, a good amount of time, and he starts suicide practices. So now he is moving these people towards the belief that they all should be willing to die together. They should want to die together. And most importantly, that they're all working towards something that is worth dying for and dying together. So he starts suicide practices. So, for example, he would call everybody together in his congregation, in his church meeting area, whatever, and ask, is this movement worth dying for to all of you? And I want to impress upon the fact that at this time, no one thinks they're going to die or that any of this is real. They think that he's just speaking in generalizations, and they're saying, of course, this is worth dying for. Like, we believe in something and this is worth dying for. So again, they, because you might be thinking, what? They believe he is a faith healer. They believe he is some sort of magic. They think he's still very positive at this point, because that will change. But he's promising the world lots of good things, and they
essentially
all think
like a prophet. That's how he's talking and coming off as.
Yeah. So yes, of course they're going to say, yeah, sure, this is worth dying for. So he suggests, what if we stage a suicide to support socialism? And they're still listening. So he keeps bringing it up. Weeks, months, he keeps saying to them, what if we do a mass suicide? For example, maybe a group of people can jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. That was one of the things he said. Maybe a bunch of us can or a bunch of you, more importantly, can jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. Or maybe we get people on a plane, we shoot the pilot in the head. The plane goes down.
What a great idea. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right? I mean, it's like you're here. I mean, I could think that you are Jesus on earth, and I don't know if someone said that to me, if I would be like, yes, let's do that.
Well,
no.
Let me do my research. Hey, Google.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah. So then finally he proposes they practice a Holy Communion. They do this a lot, where they practice Holy Communion, and once everybody drinks, eats, he tells them, which at this point this is not true, after about 5 minutes after they've taken this drink, you've all been poisoned. You now have 10 minutes to live. And see how they react, see how they feel about that. And at this point, he is starting to have some defectors. There are very few, but there are people going, I don't know about this. And trying to leave the church, but not really successfully, because again, he has these letters, the blackmail's ready.
And he took their things. What do you need to leave the country? Clearly, I don't have one. A passport. Yes, he was taking passports.
He did have control over all their documents. Yes. You're like, I don't have one. What is that?
Clearly, I'm not leaving.
That's okay. So the other thing, though, is they also had pressure from other members. So picture, though, these people are like your family. They really are. And whether you trust him or not, you trust them. And they're now your best friends' passports. Yes. And they're telling you, what are you doing? Like, why are you leaving? Why don't you believe in this? It's a lot of, these are people you trust. Like, I have to think to myself, like, if my best girlfriend was, the person I trust, telling me that she trusts in something with all her might. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to think that I'd be that.
I just be like, girl, I love you. We've had a good run. Bye.
Yeah.
Good time.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. It's crazy. So at this point, so it's 1976. Now the social backlash all around them and everything that's going on in California, they get out. They're like, we can't be successful here anymore. So he convinces people we need to move. So but my best friend Heather says, tell me, girl, what are you doing? Red flag. And I'm like, I like red. Yeah, same thing. I'm laughing because hi Trey. I laugh because my best friend, we are like the opposite type people, and she does that to me. I'll tell her something and she'll tell me I am completely wrong or go against everything I'm saying. And I go, well, I mean, I was just kind of telling you what I'm up to in my life. I'm not really, and when this turns bad, you're going to have to listen to me talk about my mistakes, but that's just how it is.
Sometimes we look good in red. So we run to it and wrap ourselves into it.
Yeah. So they decide, so we're 1976 and they decide we're moving to Guyana. They go to literally the middle of nowhere. If any of you have seen the pictures or watched anything, Trey's asking, did I miss anything good yet? We're just getting, no, they didn't even, she says, yes, of course, you've missed amazing stuff. But no, they're not really in the jungle yet. They're just getting there right now. So you're okay. So they go down there, and again, they seriously establish an entire community. And this was the thing, is that people think, did they go down there? Did they build huts out of straw? Were they suffering? No, if you actually watch, I mean, they built nice buildings, establishments, everything.
Things that were going to last and withstand a long time. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, things of quality. They really did. They started growing crops. They had livestock. People were really, really happy in the beginning, because you can see, I mean, the amount of effort that they're putting into setting up this forever as they thought it was going to be. They were really, really happy, but that very quickly went bad. Jim Jones was more about he wanted to get out, wanted to live off the grid, wanted his power, but really ultimately didn't care about people at all. So what started happening was people were sending home videos home to their loved ones, which they have not heard from these people now for months, a very, very long time. They're getting no response. And so he's telling people, send videos home, show these people how happy we are. And one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and you guys can look this up, is if you watch the videos where he's giving the tour, he is hanging huge fresh bundles of bananas, fresh as anything. And I think you saw this, and that's probably why you're nodding your head.
I'm like,
he's like hanging them and showing, look at this, look at these beautiful, bountiful, crops that we have, these bananas. He like peels one. He's like, look at this, it's amazing. And the bananas had stickers on them, and nobody noticed that the bananas
we're Jamaican bananas.
It was all a farce. Every vegetable, they couldn't grow anything because of the environment and the atmosphere. Things were dying, rotting.
It was a jungle.
Growing. Yeah, exactly. It was the middle of nowhere. But he wanted to show everybody, basically, stay out, we're fine. So he puts on this whole thing. Walking by, it looks like a farmer's market, baskets and crates of fresh vegetables and everything. But if you actually really research it, the people kind of were starving. He was the only one that got to eat the stuff. His little hut or building was the only one that he had like his individual air conditioner in there, his fans, his food, stuff like that, refrigeration. Nobody else had any of the stuff. People were starving. They were hot. They were, very sickly, actually.
Yes. One of the things that I watched on this, a documentary, one of the people said that it was like rice and milk and bugs. And that's what they'd get for morning.
It wasn't.
Where all those bananas go. Sorry.
Well, yeah, everything went downhill very quickly, and they all were realizing. Well, it's not all, actually, to be fair, but a lot of them were realizing it wasn't nirvana. But look, bananas. I know. I just think that that's so funny. That there were stickers and nobody noticed. But anyway, so people are sending letters home, sending home videos. He's putting out these public videos and stuff saying, we're fine down here, everything is great. But really, I don't even know that I could say what his motive is at this point, but it almost was reaching the point of slavery at this point. He was having everybody down there.
He definitely had a God complex.
Definitely God complex. So everybody down there is farming, cleaning, working, just really, and it really was at this point, people describe it to be like slavery. Nobody was really happy anymore. They were really just being worked to the bone, and a lot of them didn't understand, why did I come down here? What's happening?
Yeah, even the kids were.
Yeah.
It was that they went to school 8 to noon and then had to go do their chore or work, whatever they were doing for the day.
Yeah.
In the fields.
It wasn't happy at all. People were really being tortured at this point. And again, but like you said, God complex. He is now still doing his Sunday services, his sermons, stuff like that. But now it's turning very like apocalyptic. Everything he talks about now, nothing's happy, nothing's positive. It's all about the end of the world and what we're working towards and how, it's all very doomsday-ish. And people are starting to realize that it's getting very dark and just negative all around. he's becoming, more and more like a dictator, and people don't feel like they're relating to him anymore. So, as you said, Gigi, at this point, he's now instructing people to hand over their passports, hand over any documents they have, their papers, their passports. If they had any money, not that it was really, worth anything down there, but if they had any currency, any money, they're giving every cent they have to him, all their documentation, everything, and birth certificates. It doesn't matter what it is. He took it all. He also, at this point, starts putting armed guards up at gates, at the entrances to the buildings, in their homes, stuff like that. He now has people armed with rifles watching people because they're starting to say, I don't believe in this anymore. And I don't really know what I believe anymore. What's happening?
I'm like, wait, what podcast am I on right now?
I think I was just gonna say, listen, I am glad that no weird stuff is happening. That's really good. But so yes, so armed guards, people are starting to really doubt everything. It's getting really scary. So it's operating now fully like a plantation is the easiest way to put it.
Oh,
and
yes, exactly.
Trying to figure out ways they can escape, trying to figure out ways they can get in touch with their family at home, but they really can't. So haunted by Jim Jones is no good for sure. Listen, if anybody's going to be haunted by Jim Jones, it's going to be me. I decked myself out from head to toe in Jim Jones gear. So if he's going to visit anybody,
she's got Kool-Aid right next to her.
I mean, I could start drinking just like right from this. I mean, I don't know. Guys, I don't even know if you noticed, but I even have Kool-Aid packets hanging behind me on my little sheet behind here. So,
so funny.
Listen, I had to do the Kool-Aid from like
your little hole. So, yes.
Yeah. And then I'm definitely going to use this mug to drink my coffee out of from now on, by the way. And
why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I mean, it could be considered insensitive, I guess, but then you're on the wrong show. So, okay. Now he starts doing white knight drills. I was wondering what was behind you. You love it. Kool-Aid, of course. So he starts doing white knight drills, suicide drills, and faked mercenary invasions. So now it's becoming totally just a feeling of war, uncertainty. People are not comfortable. Yeah, people can tell at this point that he is going off the rails, and they're starting to question everything he's doing. But they kind of know at this point there's no way out, so they just keep going. They keep working every day. They're good people, so they just keep farming, taking care of.
We messed up.
Yeah, they're trying their best.
Oh no!
Are you hiding?
No, my son just messaged me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. So now let's go back to California, go back to the United States. People are getting worried because the families are not buying what their loved ones are saying. And it's also, it's starting to get some public attention as well. People want to know what's going on there in that establishment. They're seeing a lot of wonderful things and it piques people's curiosity, but they're saying, I don't know if this can actually be real, but they're curious enough to look into it. So around 1978, so now they've been down there for about 2 years. It gets some political attention and some public attention. So we have some politicians, some congressmen, some news media that decide we are all going to go down here and do an interview. We're going to do a video. We're going to do, we're going to find out what's going on down here. If anything, to try to ease people's minds. I don't think they were going down there. They might have had doubt, but I truly don't think they were going down there thinking they were going to uncover any, scam or anything like that. I think they just wanted to understand, and families weren't happy. So they're like, all right, let's go down here and let's see what's going on.
Right.
So Leo Ryan, who was a congressman at this point, was the sort of most famous person, flies down to Guyana on a plane with media, concerned relatives, staff members, a couple law enforcement members, all kinds of people fly down there to make this trip, into Jonestown and to see what's going on. So they go, and Jim Jones makes a huge setup of this. He's like, we have to plan a show, plan our meals. He's threatening everybody. If you say a word about even being unhappy or wanting to leave or anything that's going on here, threats, yes. Threats up the wazoo. The punishment is going to be a total shit show. Threats. So, but people get into it out of fear. They're like, okay, they plan a show, like dances, choreograph, everything, food, all this stuff, lodging. So these people go down there, and it was great. They had a great dinner. They interviewed a lot of people, and you can watch these interviews where people are like, no, this is a sanctuary. This is wonderful.
That's what I was having the family watch over dinner before we got on.
And I don't know, like, I like to say that I'm a good, like, that I can sense sometimes, like, when I watch these interviews, I don't know if I would have been able to see that people were lying. Like, they really put on a good show.
Well, they did, yes.
Yeah, they did. So they have a dinner, they have a whole musical show. Everything is great. Lots of applause, which people say he staged the whole thing. Like, he gets up and does a little speech, and everybody there is like clapping for him again, like he's Jesus on earth. And so it was all staged. But there's a reporter down there named Don Harris who gets slipped a note from one of the residents of Jonestown, basically telling everything, saying, we're miserable, we're being treated like slaves, we're starving, we're sick, our kids are, sick, all this stuff. We're scared of him, he's not right in the head. A whole thing about Heather. She goes, I make my kids praise me when we're in public. That's fine. You're probably
she does. No.
Great. We praise you in private. You just don't know it. I have a little Heather statue back here, but I don't want to show
statue of Voodoo doll.
I have a statue. No, it's a statue, and she sits on a nice little flower. But I don't want her to judge me or think that I'm like a weird white woman. So I just I don't show her that. But okay, so slipped a note. And it's not kept quiet. He basically goes to Jim Jones, doesn't say who it's from, but basically says to Jim Jones, I think that's even on camera. It is on camera, where he gives him the note and says, this was given to me last night. Is there any truth to this? And you can see his face. It actually gives me the creeps. Like, you can tell he's losing control, and he's looking at this note, and his jaw is like clenched, but he plays it off perfectly. And he's just like, I don't know why anybody would say this. It's a lie. Everybody loves it here, right? People are saying yes. He's like, everybody loves it here. And so at this point, people do come forward. The congressmen and the politicians and people say, basically to the masses, is there anybody here that wants to come? If anybody wants to leave with us, tell us. You need to say it now. And people do come forward, about 5 to 8 people. There are people that come forward and say, we want to go. And, when I hear about this or watch this, I get like the worst anxiety, because I remember the first time I watched this and didn't know anything about where this story is about to go. I said, I like to say, I'm strong. I'll stand up for whatever I want, but I would be afraid that he would have killed me before I even left. Like, I almost would have been like, what's greater, the fear of speaking up or the fear of not? I mean, if you watch him, like, I would actually think to myself, I don't know really what's worse, to be honest. I mean, I should add here, there were beatings going on, like the punishments, like if you did something to displease him, they were beating people, like even elderly people, and other people were expected to stand there and watch. I mean, it wasn't a nice environment, but at the same time, I really do think it's sort of like that not Stockholm syndrome, but if I speak up and say, yeah, I want to leave, am I going to get out of here alive or not?
Yes,
I mean,
it was definitely out of fear that they kept their mouths shut.
So again, there's armed guards everywhere, but they're not out right now because they're trying to put up a front that everything is great. Okay, so a couple people come forward and say, I want to go and I want to go back to my families. I want to go back. And they say, okay, so we'll take you with us. And of course, in front of the cameras, Jim Jones goes, if you want to go, go. You're more than welcome to go. Go. I'm not holding anybody here against their will. If you want to go, you go. And again, the first time I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. So they only flew down there in a little plane, remember? So at this point, they call the group that went down there, they call a second plane to the airport because they're like, we have to take all these people back with us. And some of them had children, family members, and they're like, we don't have enough room for this. So they call a second plane. So basically on the runway, on the landing strip, to make a long story short, they are in the process of loading these defectors onto the plane with all of these people. And a truck comes roaring down, pulls up full of Jim Jones people, guards, armed with rifles, and they start firing. At point blank range, they just start firing at all these people. There's videos of this. It's very disturbing.
Yes, that's what we just watched.
Yeah. So the congressman, so there's 5 deaths in all. The congressman gets shot, dies. 1 defector, and then 3 officials from the United States. So only one person that,
it was a mom
and said, I'm going to go home. A lot of the other people, some people ran into ran and hid in the trees, in the brush, ran. That worked. A couple of them did live. Some people got gunned down, while they were in the process of running, but some people did live. So, at this point, it's out. I mean, everything is out. News gets out. There was a shooting. Politicians are dead. People are dead. They have videos of this. It's really, at this point, it's reached its end. It's reached the point of, no return. And Jim Jones knows that when he did this, when he sent them to that airstrip, he's like, this is it. This is my final, big, I'm going out with a bang. So he gathers everybody together basically in the pavilion of Jonestown and says, this is it. We're all going home. We're all going together. And people had no choice. And this is where it's a little disturbing because he basically said you die by bullet or arrow, or you die by drinking poison. And this is where the cyanide comes in. He had already mixed, you can see big basins, like big, huge bins full of cyanide, and thousands of needles, because you could inject yourself with it if you didn't want to drink it. You could inject your children with it. And they had armed guards everywhere, literally saying to people right in front of them, you either drink this in front of me or you get shot. That's all. Like you're going one way or the other. So some people had, no choice. Some people tried to fake drinking it and got shot. And the important thing in this is that people did not want to die. He didn't have this movement of people that were saying, yes, we'll all die for you. There was a few of them. There was one lady that actually stepped up and said, why do I need to die for you? Like, is this for real? And then a couple other people speaking for him, went in with their whole spiel and said, because this is for the greater good and this is what we do, and you stand for something and we all have to die. But basically they were forced to, and parents really lost it, obviously, when they said, you're going to have to kill your kids too. You have to, put your kids down. So
I will show some pictures now if you're good with that.
Yeah, go ahead. Show the pictures now. That's good.
That's good. She needs a drink.
Oh my God, I do need a drink because this is really, look at that. Like,
it's
look
tough.
It's really tough to look at.
They just dropped.
Yeah, they did.
They're just, it's insane. Here's a aerial view.
An aerial view. Yeah.
So yeah, you'd think that was like a dump or like an old car lot or something, right? Like
That's what I said. That's what I said. I said it looks like a car lot. It's
and this
insane.
is the one that's behind us. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. And then like this was one of the first news things that came out, you know, as they were counting bodies as they were coming out. There was one of the airplanes. Just freaking nuts. Do you want me to show that clip now that I have from one of the original?
Yeah.
I couldn't get it all. It was about 7 minutes long, but I had to shorten it up.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Let's play this.
At the man's feet is a dog, the form of a dog. That dog was also fed the cyanide poison, and that dog then died along with the others. That's a Guyanese man with a gas mask on looking at the absolute devastation of human life that took place inside Jonestown. Now, we have more of the death scenes. The chair you're about to see, there on the right, in the lower right side of your picture, that's the back of a chair. That is the chair, the so-called throne chair, that was used by People's Temple leader Jim Jones. And over the chair on the stage, in the middle of the compound, is the sign, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Jones talked on the microphone that's laying there at the foot of the chair, and some of the sound equipment it looks like there. And so this is what the People's Temple grand plan in Guyana came to: mass suicide by cyanide and bullets. People pushing into position where they welcome their own destruction as a means to an end. Even when you know it's so, even when you see it as we're seeing it right now, it is still unbelievable. While we're looking at the
That's right. That was just a clip. Okay. What the frick? What a monster. How are you going to hurt animals? Okay.
Well, I know. We're most upset by this about the dog. I'm going to be honest.
Yes, this was the start of our actual whole conversation on this was I was like, dude, really? Did you know this? Like, is this really a thing?
Yeah. Why feed the little puppy cyanide? There's no reason for that.
Let him go. Just let him go.
The puppy's not going to overthrow your power. But anyway,
if that's a fear, you might want to look into doing something different with your life.
Yeah. Well, and this is like a good point to say that the really sad thing is that most people thought that this was just another drill. Like, truthfully, most people, they had gone through tons of these drills, drinking actual, liquid, all that stuff. So a lot of people had no idea that they were actually killing themselves at this point. But most people knew, because a gun is to your head and they're saying, do we even know how many birds? I don't know. Probably a lot. I couldn't even tell you. But so basically, to sum it up, 200 babies died. That's how many babies. And again, parents had the choice of either injecting their little children with this or pouring it down their throat, or, I guess they thought that was the more peaceful way other than bullets. But okay, listen, everybody watching this right now, please, after the show, Google how many birds died in the Jonestown massacre. However many could drink from the bins, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
They're like, oh, look at this wonderful bird bath. Let's jump in.
All these birdies dying. It's horrible. So the picture that she showed you was called the Quilt of the Dead, just for anyone, inquiring minds. They called that the Quilt of the Dead. And what ended up happening was all these bodies of these 900 plus 1,000 people were basically held up at airports. They did not know what to do with all these bodies because there were so many, and there was so much red tape to get these bodies back to the United States. So they started a call line, a hotline, and said, to claim a relative, call 1-800-XYZ, and the body will be shipped at your expense. So hundreds upon hundreds of people were calling, claiming bodies. They're shipping these bodies home so people could give them burials. Heather asked, did anyone survive the night? Yes, there were survivors. So very few people was this successful, but I'm sure maybe if you were on the outskirts at the start of this, some people ran into the jungle and hid. Very,
Yes, there
very
was
few.
actually two sisters. Their mom was the one that I was talking about, the one that got shot getting on the airplane. They were in the jungle for 2 nights, 3 days.
Yes. Some people played dead. If you had the opportunity to do that, where no one actually saw if you drank or did not drink it, people just laid down, put some stuff on their mouth, and just, laid there, played dead. That didn't work for everybody. There were some people that died by poison that the guards then shot them anyway, would, stand over them and shoot them to make sure that they actually were dead. But some people actually tried to lay on top of their loved ones and play dead to try to shield them. So there were people that made it out alive. Jim Jones' son was away, because everybody, that's their first question. The son that's the most well known. Well, did his kids die? He was away at basketball camp, so he did not die. But Jim Jones and his wife did, because he had a wife at this point, and she died of gunshot wounds. So, they went down with the ship. But some people even say she didn't want to die. She didn't even know what she was really signing up for, but she was shot and
That's
killed.
his adopted son that I was talking about. He was sent to live in Georgetown because he had found out that him and his wife, they were made to get married because she was pregnant. Well, the adopted son was like, hey, I want you to go back and live in Jonestown, and so my mom can support you throughout this pregnancy and stuff. And she didn't want to go. Well, then he found out all this had happened, and he's like, I signed her death warrant by making her go back with my parents. And he survived.
Yeah.
The guilt of that, no thanks.
It's crazy because the bodies, yes, of course you see these pictures of the bodies and you think that might be the most shocking picture, but you can, we're not going to put every picture, but you can even Google this and see there are thousands of just needles and cups, like melted, crumbled cups, like these bins warped, like there are thousands of it's just chaos. It's pure chaos. And they even say, like, the reason they call it the quilt of the dead is when police and people finally got word of this and flew over top of it, as you're seeing on the background here, they had no idea these were bodies. No one thought these were bodies. They didn't really know what it was, to be honest. They called it confetti, like I said it before, and they said, what is this? What is all that stuff? Are they shoes? Is that clothing? What is that? And then they flew closer and they realized it was just 1,000 bodies. It's just insane. And Heather said it before. It's scary that someone can have this much power over people, that their minds are that easily manipulated. Yes, manipulated. I mean, and I know, like, I think to myself sometimes, like, the things in life that I believe in, regardless of what they are, you can't shake my belief. Like, you cannot. And I understand that. I mean, I almost am stubborn to the point where someone can put all the facts in front of me and I don't necessarily need facts. I'll just say a belief is better than anything and that's it. But I don't know that I would have listened to this and thought, okay, one person is gonna, I don't know.
Where my mind goes is like, okay, how shitty was their life to think, I just want to give up and give this person all this control.
Yeah.
Like, there had to be some point of that they were like, I want to be out. Somebody please come and take me out of my actual reality. And thinking that they're going to this make-believe land and everything's going to be wonderful. But here, drink this Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and that's what's tough, because I go back and forth in my head about it. Like, I go, okay, there's one of him and there's 1,000 of them. So you're telling me that if they all decided to basically revolt and say, no, we're not happy, we're not doing this, you're telling me they couldn't overtake him, basically. But then again, I go back this way and I go, I don't know, because he had a lot of armed guards and people have that fear that what if I do step up,
Right. What did he promise those armed guards?
Yeah.
You know, like you
I
can
don't
live
know.
past this, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many the unknown still with this.
Yeah, you know what? It's so weird though, because the one thing that I looked for in all of this, like this is kind of my final thought on it, is when you hear of cult activity or that cult mentality or like the leader, you know, sort of mentality, they, of course, they all have something they're fighting for and they have something they believe in. But when I look at this case, I go, what was his goal with this mass suicide? Like, usually somewhere in it, there's an aspect of religion. And even though, yes, he was, you know, there was technically a religious aspect to this, that had nothing to do with the suicide. The suicide was not about we're going to heaven, we're going to hell, we're moving on, we're Scientology or something. We're all going to go to this other rut or something. It was all about what they were fighting for. Like, we're going to make a point. We're going to go against this or that. We're all going to kill ourselves. But he never actually said, like, what was his point in all of this? We're speaking of him. Yeah. And that's because we're obsessed with the human mind and we want to know how it works. I'm obsessed with the human mind. I don't understand how a lot of stuff works with the
I have a lot of like, my whole life is filled with, but why? Okay, I get an answer, but then why that? Like, okay, why did you think this? What made you like be this way? What made you coax all these people? Was it clearly wasn't he was going to take all their money and then run away, because that's not what he did.
That's my point, is
Yeah.
I kind of go, you know, he may have just been a death hungry person. There are people like that. Like, I'm going to manipulate these people. We're all going to die together and that's it. But there's usually more to that. Like I mean, Lori says, what happened with the armed guards? Did they also commit suicide or witnessed after they
I don't want to say.
Yeah. No, yeah. Everybody
died,
went.
yeah.
They were for the cause. Again, like people here and there were defectors, people that made it out. But yes, everybody was expected to kill themselves after they enforced this. It was a whole wipeout, and it was really
Talk
bad.
about thinning the herd, but that's like all in too close proximity.
Well,
to be
and
thinning the herd.
You know what's sad is that when I was growing up and I heard about yes, mom, eloquent as always. He was a sick bastard. That's my Jersey mama.
Love it.
You know, I grew up thinking, but it's perception again. You just hear things. When I grew up hearing about Jonestown, I had no idea this is how it happened. I thought everybody drank it voluntarily. That was what I thought. Everybody would always portray it as, don't drink everybody drank this Kool-Aid. It was a mass suicide. I don't think we should call this a mass suicide. This was a mass massacre. Like, this wasn't a suicide. Most people did not want to die and they were forced. So, you know, granted, they weren't happy down there, but they weren't going, yes, please, I want to go in the grave tomorrow. I mean, they were not willing to die.
I need to point out something.
Go ahead.
And actually, it was not actual Kool-Aid.
Oh, right. Right.
It was Flavor Aid. Ghetto Kool-Aid. Which tastes delicious. Yes. Flavor Aid. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
No, you're fine. It's just, it was just crazy that these people didn't, because you do hear of mass suicides where people willingly go and they're like, yep, I'm going to die for this and that's it.
I'm done.
That wasn't these people. So
that wasn't like the first big thing. Like, he talked to all these people from California and moving to a completely different country. He made these big masses do huge things with their lives more than once. It wasn't like a one-time sign over your everything and then I'm gone. It was, he kept like kind of going bigger and bigger, and until it was like, give me your life.
Well, and you know what else is sad? Like, I was thinking about this the other day. You watch movies like, okay, well, this is not the same, but it's like related. So did you ever see The Village?
Yes.
I'm sure you have. but I just had to
Yes.
ask. So I think about all these movies about people that go, we are going to go off the grid. We're just going to go live somewhere, have our own little community, have our own little. I have to tell you, like at least 3 times a day now, right now, I say,
Girl, I was just gonna say that.
we need to go, like, I need to go live in the woods somewhere. I need to go live on an island with a couple people. I want to grow my own shit. I want to have my own, like, I don't want to be any part of this world or this society. So that part, I think it's important to say, like, I can see how people would want to believe that, oh my God, we're going to be for something better. There are bombings, fires, race wars, socialism, everything. And sounds like a cult. You know,
I'm okay with that as long as we're good
you'd be
intentions.
lucky to be in the cult of Kirstianity. How about I call it that? Kirstianity. Oh, this is going to be a thing. I need to write that down.
Write it down.
I'm writing it down. Okay. I'm going to be writing my rule book tonight. I'm going to make Jim Jones proud. Really.
Oh God.
Just kidding. Sorry. Again.
This escalated very quickly.
Yeah. All right. I'll try not to get too excited. I'll dial myself down. So, but anyway, yeah. So, I mean, that's it. That's basically it. And Heather's probably right. We're still talking about it. We're still trying to figure out exactly kind of how this all came to be. And he hung fake bananas from trees with stickers on it. So there you go. That's what you have it.
He sold it though. He sold it. Like at some point you have to, you know, you can't hate the player. You got to hate the game. They bought it.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I mean, not in all aspects. I'm not, you know, but when it comes to like something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was going to go off on a whole nother topic and a whole nother thing.
Oh, geez.
And I'm not going to do that because we'll save that for another show. But I was going to say, yes, there's a lot of situations and people who sell it. Like you just said perfectly, who sell it and that's it. And that's why we don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm drinking Kool-Aid right now, Heather.
It's gone. It's gone.
Oh, hold on. Let me catch up. Wait, let me go. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Busting like the Kool-Aid man.
So that's about it. Do you have anything you want to add? I think that's about it.
I think it is with this topic. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought maybe we would end it with, I want to talk about the idea that you and I had very briefly.
Which one?
About the crossover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, oh my God, look at that. So we were tossing around the idea. I don't even think we talked to Heather about this.
We did it. Surprise.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're just talking about it. So we want to know what everybody thinks about this because I was pretty excited about it. We were kind of talking about locations, doing sort of like a crossover. So we both, in fact, all of us, even Heather, we're all very actively involved in the paranormal world, which Heather and I have made very clear that this specific podcast, we don't do anything paranormal. It's all crime and that's it. But we were talking about possibly all of us doing something like a crossover, meaning we find a location that is known both for, you know, a horrific crime or something that happened there, as well as also reported paranormal activity.
And
kind
see,
of
I'm paranormal over here in Michigan.
Yes. And bleeding both interests into one. But, you know, obviously we're all these huge enthusiasts. So we don't mean going to a location and going, 5 people were murdered here brutally. Okay, now we're going to turn on our meters and see what we can find. No,
come at me,
I'm
bro.
talking about really going into like one side of it, 50%, going through the crime, police report, everything, going through all the, you know, trying to come up with our thoughts on that end of it. And then also touching on the other side of it, which is, does that breed any kind of paranormal activity? Is it hosting it? Does it cause it, create it, whatever? How is it connected, from that whole thing? So, but I mean, we are talking about this now because we literally went straight to, we have to go to this place. We cannot just
We have a
bullshit in
whole
the distance. Like I think that in 10 seconds, we decided to fly to certain locations over a weekend. And I'm like, we're going to jump on a plane. We're going to do it. We have to go here. I want actual stuff, not pictures. Like, so,
Right.
So we are already talking about doing like a little crossover. So I think that would be pretty awesome. So that's
making it like a whole thing where it isn't just like an hour, but maybe, if we're at a location for a day or two, it'd be a few different times that we came on live and showed you the actual locations of these places instead of like, Kirsten just said, instead of just showing the pictures, but then you can see us going, oh my God, this is where it happened. I get, oh my gosh, and the history of some of these locations that we've even talked about. I'm like,
yeah.
But
and
it's exciting.
Again, like it's sometimes you have to look a little deeper into things because there are the nature of certain types of crimes. You can go to some places where 500 people died and you get nothing. There's never been a report of anything. And you can go to other places where one person was, some crime took place and it's off the charts. Cabinets are coming off the walls. And you actually can find a connection between either the type of killing or there's connections to certain things. I think people don't go past someone died here. I'm going to go read what happened and then investigate. And I think that that's what we were kind of touching on. So I think that would be fun. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
it would be too. And I have another idea that just came out, but I don't want to just like throw it out here right here.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to because I'm really excited about this one.
Oh, wait, I totally misunderstood. You said you're not going to throw it out here?
I'm not going to throw it out here. However, I will put it in the chat that me, you, and Heather are in.
Oh, what the hell? No.
Damn it.
Okay, well, fine. I mean, I don't even know about this, but that's fine. Yeah.
The whole thing.
But yeah, so I think that's about it. I'm definitely going to have you on as my co-host again. Absolutely. Because we didn't get, so we had a little technical difficulties to begin with. So we didn't get as much chit chat time as we wanted. So we're definitely going to work on that next time. And let's see, I would definitely tune into the crossover. Yes, I would be super excited about that.
I love Lori.
I don't know. I think that would be a lot of fun, but
it'd be fun, educating, entertaining, and we get a trip out of it. I'm just saying, like, it's all just like and we could probably finally meet for the very first time face to face because when I was out there, we did not get the chance.
It's ridiculous. Wait, was that the weekend that I had COVID? Yes. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that out loud. Yes. So what are the chances that I get to meet her? She comes to Massachusetts and I have it all planned to meet her. And by the way, guys, I just want to impress upon the fact that I made it through 2 to 2.5 years without COVID, literally licking park benches and touching signs, licking my fingers. Like I'm not a careful person with COVID. I'm really not. So I made it through 2 years of not being careful at all and then caught it 2 days before she came into town. So I did not get to meet her.
Rona ruined a lot of things for me the last couple of years. Not personally, but things I had wanting to do. Yes, but next time that just means I have to come back out. I was only out there for 3 days, I think. Something, I don't know. I didn't sleep. It was all just
it's not enough time. You have to come back. That's unacceptable.
I know you're gonna have to tell my husband that.
All right, go get him.
He's been in bed since like 6:30, yo.
Come on.
I'd be like, you said this. No, you were not dreaming.
Heather.
She must have missed out on some good stuff. Things escalated very quickly.
I'm not going to say anything.
What kind of show is this?
Come back to her licking things. Yeah, that's about it.
You kind of act like you don't know her, man. What's up?
I know. You act like you don't know me. Like you've been with me. Like what's like you act like you don't know me. What's going on? yeah, so I think that's about it. So I guess we will leave you guys for the night. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in and joined us. I I hope you like my gear because I think that she thought I was insane when I first told her all the Jim Jones stuff that I had. But I don't know. I kind of like
I
it.
love it.
I think maybe I'll wear this shirt out, drink up, and maybe offend some people in public one day. Like I think I might wear it
You
to
should.
like a restaurant or something.
And be
yeah.
like, hey, and order some Kool-Aid.
Oh my God, I'm so gonna take a video of that. I'm just gonna go to a restaurant and be like, can I help you? And I'll say, yeah, I want Kool-Aid. They're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Do you have any Kool-Aid?
I want the Kool-Aid.
I mean, I guess I'll take some cranberry juice because that looks like Kool-Aid, but I mean, I guess that's fine. You know, what is the next show? Well, I swear I'm not looking for an answer on this, so don't worry. I was going to leave it up to you if you are going to join me again, because I guess I should say, so I picked the Jonestown topic a while ago. I picked it. I really wanted to do this topic. I had, researched a lot about it and I was excited about it, but I think you should pick the next topic.
Okay. So
she already knows.
I do.
He's going.
I know. I do. And I have my femur pen. This is a femur and it's a pen. That's what I've been writing with. So
I love that.
The Dennis Nielsen case. I've been obsessed with this for the past 2 years. I was only able to record the first half with my husband and it came out horrible because we can be married, but we cannot podcast together. So I never put it out, the first one, but it's a very, very interesting case. Okay. He's kind of like the UK's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
And it's I didn't sleep for like months. So, and I'm already not sleeping right now. So it just kind of makes sense to do it all. And I have like the whole file and everything already. So like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this shit now. I'm kidding.
I have to say, like, no, that's fine. You know what? I told you this, and like Heather, I told her that typically there's usually a natural balance to things, that one topic, like whenever we pick a topic, one of us usually knows more about it or is more passionate about it. And we usually say, well, I'll kind of take the lead on this one and you can jump in, and then I'll take the lead on the next one. So I have heard of that, but I don't know, to be honest, a lot about that. So that would be all you. That would be, I mean,
watch some of the documentaries for sure. So you can be like, WTF.
Okay.
Watch some of them. I'll have to remember. I got a whole list of them and everything. But it's
definitely do that. That would be good. I would do that.
It's now I'm like, that was going through my head and I'm like, oh, what a sick bastard. You're gonna love it. But I know go ahead.
I love it. No, I love it.
You will. And I'm pretty sure on one of these computers I already have like all the clips and stuff. So it'll be all set to go. So
we'll take it offline. We'll pick a date. We'll and that's it. We'll do it. We'll run with it. I'll start doing my research on it. We can get together a good show and we'll do that. Because honestly, I'm a sick bitch. So if I haven't really heard a whole lot about this, then I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard a whole lot about this. So we can definitely.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it because this is that. There's some sick. It's lots of fun.
Oh my God. Sounds good. Okay. Well, I mean,
I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. I don't have anything else. So again, I hope everybody sleeps beautifully tonight and does not have all the images of this horrific tale that we've gone through with you. We'll post the date of our next show, within the next couple days. We like to space them out. We don't do them every week or anything like that. We do like one a month, if so, because we really, like Heather always says, we put a lot of work into this, like a lot. We do a lot of research. We get a lot of input into it. So, so we'll post our next show soon. I would say we'll post the recipes for our cocktails, but guys, it's Kool-Aid and vodka. That's mine. And you need to have the Jim Jones mug, because if you don't have the mug, you're not.
Mine was Hawaiian punch and vodka. I did not have Kool-Aid, but
it
worked.
That's fine. So you had the the generic. What was the name of it? Flavor Aid. So you had the Flavor Aid version, and I went out and literally bought 20 packets of Kool-Aid for this. I was like, I need all the Kool-Aid in the world. Like, I need to understand, I need all the Kool-Aid. So, okay.
I love that.
We're good. Everybody have a wonderful Thursday night. We will see you soon, and keep an eye out for the next episode.
Yes. Now, do I,
What's up? Oh, we're going to end the show too with technical difficulties. Let's do it.
I found it. Bye.
Good night.